We're given $3,600,000 to Haiti for pastry cooking classes, for cyber cafes, for dance focus groups, for male prostitutes. The president's saying, I don't think so. I don't think that the American people support giving their hard-earned money to male prostitutes in Haiti.
Next week hits like a bombshell. President Trump drops a rescission bill on Congress, and I'm staring at a $7 trillion budget stuffed with waste so nauseating it should come with a warning label. Sesame Street in Iraq? Male prostitutes in Haiti? Sex worker contracts in Nepal? Watching this spending porn makes my gag reflex kick in. And when Trump finally demands we cut just 0.1%, the same people who scream about waste suddenly run for cover. This is gut check time, and I'm calling out every hypocrite who refuses to act.
I want to say, Mr. President, next week, President Trump's going to send us over what's called a rescission bill. What does that mean? Well, we've got a $7 trillion budget, okay? I don't know how much of that $7 trillion is waste, but every fair-minded person would have to agree that there's some money being spent in that $7 trillion that shouldn't be spent. It just shouldn't. It's wasted money. And so President Trump and this Congress made one of its objectives trying to reduce spending. Not spending that we need to reduce, but spending that needs to be reduced. I call it spending porn. And the president has sent us a bill. He's saying to Congress, I want you to reduce spending in the current budget by $9.1 billion. And let me tell you what the spending, what constitutes the spending I want to reduce. Well, first, $9.1 billion out of a $7 trillion budget, we're not talking about a lot of money here. We're talking about 0.1%. That's all. That's point one. Point two, you need to look at what the president's asking us to cut out. I'll just give you a couple of examples. I didn't make this up. The president is saying we're giving $3 million to Iraq to produce Sesame Street. Maybe we could use that money for something else. The president is saying we're giving $3 million to Zambia for circumcisions and vasectomies. The president's saying, we don't need to do that. We've got other priorities. We're giving $500,000 to Rwanda to buy electric buses. The president's saying to us, Congress, we don't need to be spending the money on that. There are more important things. We're spending $67,000 to give insect powder to kids in Madagascar. I don't even know what insect powder is, but the president's asking us to cut it out. We're giving $3,600,000 to Haiti for pastry cooking classes, for cyber cafes, for dance focus groups, for male prostitutes. The president's saying, I don't think so. I don't think that the American people support giving their hard-earned money to male prostitutes in Haiti. So he's asking us to cut it out. He's asking us to reduce the budget by $833,000 because some of President Biden's bureaucrats gave a contract to transgender people, sex workers, and their clients in Nepal. The president's saying, I don't want to do that. And he's right. That's enough. You get the idea. That's why I call it spending porn. Triggers your gag reflex. You look at this stuff and you go, what in God's name? Who decided to do this? Well, Congress didn't. The bureaucrats did. It's money we appropriated, but we didn't tell them to go spend money, $833,000, and give to sex workers in Nepal. They just took the money we appropriated and used it for that. And so the president is asking us to do what's called a rescission, to cancel the spending. Now, I have listened, I've been here 8 years, Mr. President, and I've listened to a whole bunch of people talk about the need to reduce spending. But you got to watch what people do, not what they say. Because talk is cheap. And around here, I've learned pretty quickly that reducing spending, it's like going to heaven. I want to go to heaven. I bet you want to go to heaven, Mr. President. I bet our guests in the gallery want to go to heaven. But everybody wants to go to heaven. Raise your hand if you're ready to take the trip today. Most people, you are, sir, and I admire that, but most people want to live a little longer. And that's the way it is with reducing spending around here. I want to reduce spending. I support it, but not just yet, because I've got this project. Well, and I've listened to that. And I've especially listened to it for the past 100 days. Go get them, President Trump. Reduce that spending. We're behind you 1,000%. Well, he has. He has. 0.1% he's asking us to reduce. And I'm not saying senators shouldn't ask questions and make some changes if they need to be made, but here's the bottom line. It is gut check time. It is gut check time. You either believe in reducing spending or you don't. And if you talk the game and say, let's reduce spending, and you vote against this bill, in my opinion, you ought to hide your head in a bag. Because you will be able to cut the hypocrisy with a knife. It's real, real hard, Mr. President, to preach temperance from a bar stool. It's gut check time. We need to pass this bill. I yield the floor, Mr. President.
Standing on that Senate floor, I could feel the weight of what was coming. President Trump is about to send us a rescission bill, his call to start clawing back the garbage spending buried deep inside a $7 trillion budget. And as I dug through the details, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I'm talking about money that no sane American would ever approve. Trump wants us to cut $9.1 billion. Let me put that in perspective. It's 0.1% of the entire budget. That's nothing. It's pennies. But the fact that there's even a penny of waste is the entire point. And once you see what's in that waste, you can't unsee it. I laid it out one absurd example at a time. $3 million to Iraq to produce Sesame Street. I'm thinking, since when is it America's job to fund Muppets overseas? Then $3 million to Zambia for circumcisions and vasectomies. I'm not against healthcare, but I am against lighting American tax money on fire for projects no one voted for. Then I keep flipping through the list, and it only gets worse. $500,000 to Rwanda to buy electric buses. $67,000 to give insect powder to kids in Madagascar. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. And frankly, I don't think the bureaucrats do either. But the one that really set me off was the $3.6 million going to Haiti. Not for food, not for security, not for disaster relief, but for pastry classes, cyber cafes, dance focus groups, and even male prostitutes. They call this development. I call it insanity. And taxpayers are footing the bill. Then comes the kicker. $833,000 to Nepal for a program targeting transgender people, sex workers, and their clients. Nobody in Congress voted for that. Nobody asked for that. Bureaucrats just took the money we appropriated and decided to experiment with it behind our backs. That's why I call this stuff spending porn. It triggers your gag reflex the second you look at it. And the fact that it's been happening for years makes it even worse. But here's the real problem. I've been listening to people in this town preach about cutting spending for almost a decade. They talk big, they thump their chests, they demand action. But when the time comes to actually cut something, anything, they scatter like roaches when the lights turn on. Everybody claims they want to reduce spending, but nobody wants to take the trip. It's like that old line, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Well, everybody wants smaller government, but nobody wants to make cuts. So now it's gut check time. Trump gave Congress exactly what it claimed to want, a chance to cut wasteful spending. Real waste, proven waste, embarrassing waste. And if anyone now turns around and votes against this rescission, they should hide their head in a bag. The hypocrisy will be so thick you could carve it. You can't preach temperance while sitting on a bar stool. And you can't talk tough on spending while protecting garbage programs that mock hardworking Americans. This is the moment where every member of Congress has to decide whether they believe in cutting waste or whether they just like talking about it on TV.